Welcome everyone. Welcome to yet another supremely amazing session of NEET 2021 Class 12th Chapter of Ecology, Biodiversity and Conservation. And today we are going to discuss about certain concepts on the type of conservation. This is your lecture number 4. I have just postponed the lecture due to certain reasons at that particular time. And now this is the last part of the topic. I hope you might have not forgot the chapter and you have still some idea on the chapter of biodiversity and conservation. This is useful for both class 12th CBSE boards also, because a guaranteed 2 or 3 marks question would definitely come from this topic of biology also. Don't forget to like, share, subscribe and leave the comment in the wonderful comment section of our channel of BioPoint, Stream the World of Bio. So moving on to the last topic of biodiversity and conservation, that is the types of conservation. Mainly, we could say that there are two different types of conservation. First one is Insitu Conservation. Second one is Exsitu Conservation. What are they? In-situ conservation and ex-situ conservation. What do you mean by in-situ conservation? In-situ means the on-site conservation. Ex-situ means the off-site conservation. So these are the two different types of conservation, and we are going to discuss in detail about these two different types of conservation. So let's begin with today's amazing class on the first topic, that is the in-situ conservation or the on-site conservation. The conservation of genetic resources within the natural or human-made ecosystem in which they occur. For example, a tiger, a snake, all these things inside the zoo. If you are visiting a zoological park, you would see what zoological park is actually a type of ex-situ conservation, but inside the zoological park from one area you would observe this in-situ conservation. That is when you go for the tiger or snake and something, they would be kept in the natural habitat, but the thing is that they are kept inside the human made ecosystem, so that it comes under the ex-situ conservation. In-situ means the animals are made to conserve, or animals are conserved in their natural habitat. For example, the places such as national park, sanctuaries, biosphere reserves, cultural landscape, natural monuments. Guys, for example, the Western Ghats, the Periyar Wildlife Sanctuary, the National Park, National Park, sanctuaries, cultural landscape, natural monuments. All these are examples of in-situ conservation, because, for example, in the Safari channel, in the other Discovery channel and all these things, you might have seen about certain people traveling inside certain vehicles deep into the forest to observe the animals, right? A guide will also be along with there to guide out their path. All these things you might have seen in certain movies or in television or whatever. So all these are examples of in-situ conservation. India has about 14 biosphere reserve, 90 national park and 448 wildlife sanctuary, 448 wildlife sanctuary, 90 national park and 14 biosphere reserve. These are the characteristic of in-situ conservation. First one is the national park. What is national park? They are strictly reserved for the welfare of wildlife, where private ownership, cultivation, grazing, etc. are prohibited. For example, in Kerala, we have a very important and a very beautiful national park. Iravikulam National Park, situated in Kerala, is one of the examples of national park. We have it. I'm not telling it's the most large. I'm not telling like this. It's one of the most beautiful places, or one of the most beautiful national park, which is open for all the travelers, for all the foreigners, everybody to visit. Okay, but the private ownership, the cultivation, grazing of animals, all these are prohibited inside the national parks. Okay, for example, you have the Iravikulam National Park in Kerala. Actually, it is situated in Munnar, which is actually a border of Kerala and Tamil Nadu. Next is sanctuaries, wildlife sanctuaries. In Kerala, we have yet another wildlife sanctuary, that is the Periyar Wildlife Sanctuary, and this is actually mentioned in your NCRT. Some of you might be thinking that I am from Kerala, so I am just keeping on telling the examples of Kerala. No, all these things are only the examples mentioned out in your NCRT. So in the sanctuary, what things happening over there is a protection is given only to animal. What about national park? Both plants as well as animal equal weightage is given. But for in the wildlife sanctuaries, protection is given or prior importance is given to animals. Collection of timbers, minor forest product and private ownerships are allowed so long as they do not harm the animals. So all the things which do not harm the animals are allowed inside the sanctuary. For example, cutting down of woods, minor forest products like resin, gum, all these things can be collected. All these things are done under the wildlife sanctuaries only, not in the national park. For example, the Periyar Wildlife Sanctuary in Kerala is an example for a a wildlife sanctuary. Next, you have the Biosphere Reserve. Biosphere Reserve is an area of land or coastal ecosystem for conservation and sustainable use. Guys, as it goes on to the northern parts of India, actually the places are almost surrounded by other states itself. But when we come towards the southern part, Kerala, Tamil Nadu, all these things, Kerala and Tamil Nadu are two main parts in which the three sides are covered by what? Water. For example, the Nilgiri Biosphere Reserve is an example of a biosphere reserve, areas of land or coastal system for conservation and sustainable use. Guys, is Munnar, Kodaikanal, Ooty, all these things can also be conserved, also be considered. Okay, because all these are associated with the coastal areas and a wild variety of, it is a what? Actually, we could say it is to be a biodiversity hotspot also. That is a large number of species of plants and animals occurs over there. But due to the exploitation done by the animals, by the human beings especially, those places are converted into a sport of enjoyment. Next is the sacred groves or the sacred forest. Forest fragments which are communally protected based on religious belief. For example, you would say some kind of people would stay inside the forest, right? So in for those people, this they have certain forest fragments and they consider it has to be gold. They worship it. They are communally protecting it on the belief of their religion. So, for example, the sacred groves in Kashi, Jaintia hills in Himalayas, very, very important one. Very important and a well-known sacred grove, Kashi and Jaintia hills in Himalaya, Aravalli hills in Rajasthan, Western Ghats region of Karnataka, Maharashtra, all these things. Guys, in Karnataka, you would say certain, what? The part of a Western Ghat, you would have certain traveling sports over there near Mukampika and all. You will see the parts of Western Ghats over there. Next, you have the Chanda, Bastar, and Sarjuja areas of Madhya Pradesh are also sacred groves or considered as to be sacred groves by the people. Guys, this means that actually certain people considering a part of a forest has to be a part of their religion. They will construct a god over there, they will worship it, they will light the lamp, they will conduct festivals. All these things would be done by the people residing over there. For example of that is the Kashi Jaintia, Aravalli Hills, Western Ghats in Karnataka. Near the Mukampika area, you will definitely see a part of the Western Ghats and it's highly worshipped also. Okay. The second thing is the Exsitu Conservation or the off-site conservation. It is a conservation of organism outside the habitat. Guys, for example, the garden inside, the garden in our house, a farm near our house, or if having it in our house itself, it's good. So a garden, a farm, an agricultural field, all these things are not the plants which is directly grown over there. We are taking out the plants from some other area and is giving them the natural condition on which they are growing inside our home itself and making them to grow with the help of fodder, water, minerals, nutrients, all these things. So it's not under its natural habitat it is growing. It is cultivated or it is grown under a man-made ecosystem. Example is the genetic resource center. Genetic resource center. For example, the genetic resource center, the zoological park, the wildlife sanctuary. Guys, inside the zoological park, inside the museums, not in the museums, in the botanical garden, wildlife safari parks, all these things, what you can see, you would see actually the animals are under the human control. The fodders and all will be provided by human. They will not be able to naturally go and feed upon their prey. But in case of national parks, wildlife sanctuaries and everything, they will be naturally, they will be grazing. Guys, in for example, mostly we could observe this in the Tamil Nadu borders, Palakkad, Tamil Nadu borders, Kerala, Tamil Nadu borders, between Palakkad and Tamil Nadu, you would definitely see certain sanctuaries. What's the speciality of it is that, guys, in between, it is a huge forest. Okay, it is a huge forest. In between the forest, so as to make out a transportation way to go from one place to another, the people have constructed a road. But there will be no police signals, there will be nothing, no traffic signals, there would be no police stations, no houses. It would be a really a forest which there can be snakes, monkeys, lion, tiger, elephant, all these things could be there. But in between the special, the only difference with that to the forest is that in between you would have a clear concreted road through which vehicles can pass. So if I have been through these ways for so many times when we were on our way to visit certain temples of Tamil Nadu and all, we were on this way to cross Palakkad. Otherwise, it would be a huge way to reach Tamil Nadu. So I'm talking about it because I have experienced that. That's why I'm taking the example of Kerala, Tamil Nadu borders and is explaining to you. Okay. Okay. So the difference is that in between you have a road and traveling would only be allowed during a particular time, that is morning 8 a.m. to evening 5 p.m. After that, no vehicle would be allowed. Guys, at the entrance, guys, suppose if this is the starting of that particular sanctuary pathway of a forest, here there would be a building. Okay, here there would be actually some police guards will be guiding. They would be giving us a pass or something, and after we cross out the another checkpoint, which is actually the end. Suppose if we are taking over our vehicle from 8 a.m. from this time, we have to cross up to here. They will be knowing the time limit that within this particular time we have to reach out the next pass. So suppose it be 9:30 p.m. 9:30 a.m. So in between that, if it doesn't cross, what happens? There will be a call connection. That is the only way by which they are identifying whether peoples are going outside or whether peoples are in any danger inside it, because they can be huge elephants, they can be lion, tiger, snake, monkey we can commonly see everywhere, right? So botanical garden, gene banks, cryo preservation. Guys, what is cryo preservation homework? Comment me on the comment section soon after the class. I don't want anyone to miss that. If anybody is missing it, I'll make it 100% sure that you haven't watched the session till the end. So this is the comment. You have to comment me the answer for cryo preservation. What is cryo preservation? Name the liquid used in the cryo preservation. All these things you have to comment me on the comment section after the class is over. Hotspots. A familiar term. I don't know what about the northern India and all. In Kerala, a very common term, increasing the number of COVID hotspots. Hotspots means the place where you can have a high number of XYZ. XYZ can be a disease, a pathogen, animal, a plant, or whatever. Here in biodiversity and conservation chapter, we are studying hotspot as biodiversity hotspot. These are the regions with a very high species richness, high degree of endemism, that is species confined to a specific regions only. There are in total 34 hotspots in the world. 3 hotspots cover India's biodiversity regions, Western Ghats, Sri Lanka, Indo-Burma and the Himalayas. Guys, this particular statement is a very important question for your CBSE boards. Very, very important question for your CBSE boards. Clear? So in the hotspots region, you will have a very high species richness and a high degree of endemism. For example, you would have the Western Ghats, Indo-Burma and Himalayas, and the Sri Lanka and all. All hotspots together cover only less than 2% of the Earth's land area, but the species richness is very high because there are millions and billions of species. Protection of hotspots reduce the ongoing extinctions by 30%. Next is the Earth Summit. Very important. 2019 first question, set A. NEET. Set A1, first question. Question number 1 for NEET 2019. Okay. Guys, 1 second. Okay. So these are the international efforts done by the government for the conserving of biodiversity hotspots. What are the objectives of Earth Summit? So answer was Rio de Janeiro 1992 Earth Summit was conducted. So very important one, very, very important. I'm again telling Rio de Janeiro Earth Summit 1992. So conservation of biodiversity, sustainable use of biodiversity, sharing of benefits from the genetic resources. So sharing of all the important things that we are obtaining from biodiversity regions. Next is the World Summit held in Johannesburg in 2002. That is the World Summit. The World Summit on Sustainable Development held in 2002 in Johannesburg in South Africa. 190 countries pledged to reduce the current rate of biodiversity loss. NEET 2013 question paper question. So that's all about this chapter. I hope you have clearly gone through the idea. If you have any doubt, comment me in the comment section. I would be able to clarify your doubts. So I have given you an homework also. What is cryo preservation? Cryo preservation, very important. Have already taught you cryo preservation. And guys, we would be starting out with the chapter of sexual reproduction in flowering plants also. Okay. And human health and disease will also be continued. Photosynthesis to be continued. So you have to cope up. I have been conducting weekly tests. I'm going to increase the number of weekly tests. Everything. So bye-bye guys. See you in the next class with supremely amazing lecture. Bye-bye.